let me know when we are like filming and
We are filming it live.
Okay, awesome.
And we don't have anybody yet.
All right, I'll wait a couple of minutes before I...
Hey, don't eat my shoelaces, sir. Not helping.
No.
So, let's see. Whoop, that's the radio. Turn down the radio. Oh, we have one viewer. Hello.
Hello.
3 viewers. We're in the goat yard today.
Woo!
And,
Goats.
and the goats are being their crazy selves. This is Victor. That's Percy in the back there who's slowly looking for food.
I want to zip my pockets.
Yeah, I might want to do that. And then in the background, the black and white alpaca is Trotter. And then Kramer, the alpaca, is hiding, I think, behind Miss Emily. Way in the background there. He'll come out eventually.
He's eating the hay out of the bucket.
He's eating. Okay. Oh, we have 12 followers. Hi, Carol. Nice to see you. So we're going to let Miss Emily talk for a minute, and you guys let us know if you can't hear her.
All right. So, welcome to this week's Facebook Live event. As I'm sure you guys can notice, we are not in our downstairs studio. We are out here in our goat yard at the barn area. And today, we're going to be talking about these critters and their adaptations. Now, before we get there, I do want to tell you guys about a super cool event that's happening next Wednesday. Myself and Miss Katie will be going live with Skype in the classroom on Wednesday the 27th. What are you doing? On Wednesday the 27th at 10:30 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. So that's when you can access the event. It's going to be on Microsoft Teams. But we won't actually be going live until 11.
I think he wants all the attention.
We won't actually be going live until 11. Oh, man. What do you want? I'm trying to tell people about us. Okay.
So Dee says, so cute. Hey, easy, buddy. Can everybody hear Emily okay? Our goats are being their normal cantankerous selves, so bear with us.
Okay. So we'll be going live with Skype in the classroom using Microsoft Teams on the 27th, it's Wednesday, starting at 10:30. The actual event itself, like me and Katie, won't be live until 11. However, you can start accessing the event starting at 10:30. We put a post up on Facebook last Saturday detailing it. We'll also be posting on Twitter and Instagram as well as more Facebook posts as the event gets closer. On this event, we are going to be talking all about animal adaptations, and we'll be live with people from all across the globe, which is super cool. So make sure that if you guys like our Facebook Live events and what we do here in Education Corner, that you check out that live event with Skype in the classroom. Now, today we're going to be talking about adaptations in domesticated animals, which are a little different than adaptations in wild animals. If you've been tuning into our social media platforms, you've seen us talking about size adaptations on Instagram, animal intelligence as an adaptation on Twitter, and then on our Mammal Mondays post, you've been seeing us talk about our talkin' adaptations. And these are all adaptations that occur in the wild and are under the influence of 3 types of selection, whether that might be natural selection, kin selection, or sexual selection. Adaptations that you see in domestic animals, like goats, cats, dogs, chickens, or alpacas, all arise through the process of artificial selection, which is basically the process through which humans, us, intentionally select traits in animals that we like, and then we breed those animals with those desirable traits. This gives rise to the goats you see, the alpacas you see, the cats in your house,
Hi.
the dogs in your house.
You're not helping.
Domestication itself is the process of adapting wild animals or plants for the sole purpose of human use. Now, this has been going on for thousands of years, ever since humans really started to become settled and use crops and animals for hunting, herding, or even just companionship purposes. An animal is considered to be domesticated when it is physically and genetically different from its wild counterparts. This also gives rise to breeds. So I'm sure you guys have heard of different dog breeds like Great Dane, Chihuahua, or even cat breeds, or alpaca and goat breeds. And these kind of function the same way that subspecies do in wild animals. So a Chihuahua and a Great Dane are both a dog. They just look very different, but they are the same species. Now, domestication can't just happen overnight. It's something that takes time. And like I said, humans have been doing this for thousands of years. The first animal, or first vertebrate, I suppose, to be domesticated was our dogs. And they are domesticated from wild wolves. And this started to happen about 40,000 to 27,000 years ago, is when anthropologists think that dogs were beginning to become domesticated from wolves. And this likely happened because wolves were coming into human settlements to eat scraps. And humans eventually were like, hey, they keep our camps clean, that's pretty awesome. We can also use them for defense and hunting. And that's initially how dogs became domesticated. Livestock animals, like these guys that you see here, came into the domestication view a little bit later, about 10,000 years ago. This happened when human populations started becoming a little bit less nomadic and started to settle down and focus on agriculture. Larger animals, or your beasts of burden, like cows, oxen, horses, that's also when these guys started to become domesticated as well. And like I said, humans domesticate animals by looking for traits that we deem desirable. And the kind of traits that we deem desirable depend on that species of animal. However, some traits that are regularly selected for include docileness, or how relaxed an animal is around humans. For the most part, you're going to want to select for animals who are fairly relaxed around us. You're not going to want to breed for aggressive or feisty animals, for the most part. We also tend to breed animals that seek out human attention, so animals that come to us for companionship or enjoy our company, because part of the reason we domesticated animals is because we enjoyed their company as well. We also select for how cute animals are, and often this results in animals having juvenile traits, which is known as neoteny. So those big eyes you see in your dogs, the floppy ears that you see in your dogs, the curly tails, the fluffiness, those are all juvenile traits, or even like the giant paws. Those are all juvenile traits that we think are aesthetically pleasing, so we'll select for those. And lastly, especially for domesticated animals like beasts of burden, or sheep, alpacas, chickens, stuff like that, we tend to domesticate those animals if they have traits that we like that allow them to survive in rough, harsh climates, or make them resistant to disease. We also select for this in crops as well, as one method of their domestication. Now that you guys have that background of what domestication is, what artificial selection is, how these animals, came to be this close to me without, freaking out, Katie is going to tell you all about the domesticated species of alpaca and goat, and if we have time at the end, we'll talk about our chickens.
All right, if you do have any questions, definitely put them in the chat for us. And Miss Emily's going to take over our camera. As you guys can probably guess, it's been quite an adventure with all the animals in the yard, hence why my camera skills were not super steady, because at one point the goats were nibbling on my pockets. Now, goats like this, these are actually Nigerian dwarf goats. So we have Victor here at my legs, and then we have Percy over here. Victor and Percy, like we said, are Nigerian dwarf goats. They're very human-oriented, and also that can lead to some problems, as you can probably see at my legs right now. He's got some pretty good horns. He thinks I have food, so he's using that to get attention and stab me in the leg. So, anyway, Nigerian dwarf goats, these guys are about 7 years old. They can live quite a long time, up to like 15 years or so in human care. But I said the breed of these guys, there are, can you not chew on my coat? Thank you. There are actually over 200 breeds of goats across the world. So they come in, ouch, thank you. They come in all sorts of different shapes and sizes. These guys, while kind of small looking, are actually about 100 pounds. And so they're pretty stocky little guys, pretty steady and sturdy. Hi. Goats in general were domesticated a little bit over 10,000 years ago, so they were one of the first larger livestock type animals to be domesticated. They're common as livestock. They're a little bit less common, but still fairly common as pets. There are not any wild populations of domesticated goats. There's a lot of different other kinds of goats, like mountain goats that we've seen on, here in Montana or even in Idaho or Wyoming. But there's no like wild populations of domesticated goats because they're, domesticated. They don't really live in the wild super well. Now, early on in domestication, they were used for primarily food, like meat and milk. Or primarily food initially, and then used more for milk, because female goats can sometimes produce up to 2 quarts of milk a day. So there's quite a bit that they were used for. They also, as people know, they tend to eat a lot of things. The joke or the cartoon is that the goat is eating a tin can, and technically they don't really do that, but they do eat, they're pretty hardy, they eat a lot of different plant material. They primarily eat hay and grass here at the zoo, with the occasional bit of feed, which I have in my pockets, which is why they keep going for my pockets. Females can actually become reproductively mature at 4 to 5 months, and can have 3 to 4 babies or offspring called kids. Super cute and adorable. And those square eyes, now if you've been watching our Facebook, we did a little bit about square eyes in our talkin', which is actually a goat relative. So definitely check out that Facebook post about why they have square eyes. It's a super cool thing. It's fairly common in a lot of prey 4-footed species. Now, our alpacas here, Kramer's the one close to you here, and then Trotter's the one on the ground. They're all rolling in the dust. They're being super adorable. Alpacas were domesticated, as far as we can tell, about 6,000 years ago. So not as long ago. However, they were domesticated from the vicuña, which is, I think they're actually a little bit smaller than these alpacas. They're less woolly. Their wool is actually very different. And they, don't nibble on my fingers, please. But there's no wild populations of alpacas, but the vicuñas are actually native to the high regions of the Andes Mountains in South America. So we actually know, I don't know if it's known where, like, specifically goat breeds came from, but it is known that alpacas came from vicuñas, and their larger cousins, the llamas, which are also domesticated, came from guanacos, which are, they are all in the same family. They're in the camel family, actually, and they're all in the high areas in South America. Now, these guys can live a lot longer, up to 20 years in human care. These guys are only 5 years old, so they have quite a long time. They're still getting used to people. They've been here for about 1.5 years, almost 2 years actually, but they're still getting used to people. He thinks I have food, so he's looking in my fingers. But in the 1980s is when alpacas from South America began to actually be exported to other regions of the world for farming. Now, alpacas are a little bit smaller than llamas. Llamas are often used as like herd guard animals, as well as like beasts of burden, like carrying packs and things like that. Alpacas are most commonly prized for their wool. Their wool is very different from sheep's wool. It's usually more hypoallergenic because it doesn't have the lanolin, I believe. And it's usually of different quality. There's 2 breeds, theoretically, or at least 2 different kinds of wool in alpacas. One of them is more curly and one of them is finer. And I think ours are the curly hair type. They're the more common type. But they are also vegetarian diet. They eat grasses, but can eat woody materials like bark or stems of different trees. Now, the alpacas are ruminants. They have that 3-chambered stomach, so they process the food a little bit differently than the goats do. Now, alpacas can produce about 5 to 8 pounds of marketable fiber from their coats every year. And I know that doesn't sound like a lot of poundage, but when you consider how light the fur is, like that's a lot of fur that they can produce. Our alpacas get sheared about once a year, and when they do that, we get like literal massive trash bags full of fur. So it's really cool to have them for that wool. Alpacas can actually breed year-round, and females usually give birth to 1 baby. The baby is called a cria, C-R-I-A. They're super adorable, and like we said, those adorable little traits, the juvenile neoteny traits, do progress into adulthood. So when you're looking at our alpacas, they've got the cute little rounded ears, the little rounded looking face. They're adorable, right? And a fun fact for you, that is also a good thing that our alpacas are fairly domesticated. They can use all of their feet to kick in just about any direction up to their hip height. So when you're walking an alpaca, for example, like we do at the zoo, we walk our goats and alpacas for their enrichment. You have to be careful that they don't get spooked because, horses will usually kick backward, maybe a little bit off to the side, not very high. Alpacas can like karate kick in every single direction. So just gotta be careful. Do we have any questions so far?
Are alpacas a herd animal from Annette?
Oh, Annette, thank you. That's a great question. Are alpacas herd animals? Ironically, almost all of the animals that humans have domesticated are herd or flock animals. Part of that's because, usually it's beneficial to keep more than one animal. These animals are usually prey animals as well, or domesticated from prey animals, and prey animals tend to live in large groups. So, yes, our alpacas are herd animals. We only have 2, which is why they spend time with the goats, which is why they'll spend time with their neighbors, the mini donkeys, who are just coming out of quarantine, so everyone can see them a little bit more. So, yes, they are herd animals typically. Usually people have at minimum 2, if not up to, dozens or even more. There are herd dynamics that happen. Sometimes you can't have males in with a bunch of females or a bunch of males together because they will fight. Kramer and Trotter do occasionally get in little sparring matches, but that mainly involves them squealing and spitting at each other, so it's not super, it's not an issue here, although it's something to consider when you do have alpacas.
And then Nicole asks what we do with the alpaca fleece once we shear them. Do we donate it or do we allow someone to buy it?
Good question. So we actually, the last time we sheared, we allowed a lot of the different areas around the zoo to take some of the fur or the wool and actually use it as enrichment for other animals. Some of our staff got to take a little bit home, and then I think the rest of it I think someone asked if they could take it last year. So definitely contact Jeff, our director. His email is just director@zoomontana.org, and you can ask him for the next time we get a bit of wool if you're interested.
Awesome. That is all the questions that I see for now.
Cool. So since it's not currently raining, we're going to go peek over at the chickens over across the fence. So let's follow me across the yard. I'm sorry, Craig. I didn't mean to spook you. Hi, Trotter. We're coming towards you. We're coming this way. There we go. So our chickens are kind of hard to see. I don't know if we can even see any of them.
They're behind the roost.
There's one over there. And also we have our bunny in the yard. So, fun fact, a lot of people don't realize, unless you did 4-H and things like that rabbits are domesticated as well. There are over 300 rabbit breeds in the world, so there's a lot of them. And they are really cool. This is actually one of the largest. This is the Flemish giant rabbit. She's all the way over in the corner over there munching on some grass. Flemish giant rabbits can reach 15 to 20 pounds, so they are quite large bunnies. And she is quite happy in this nice chilly day because she's got lots of thick fur and a little bit of a fat dewlap there on the underneath her chin, which is something that she actually uses to help keep her babies warm. Now we're going to move over to chickens, because chickens are so cool. Now, this is one of our chickens here staring at us saying, "Do you have food?" Chickens were domesticated, we actually know, about 7,000 to 10,000 years ago in Southeast Asia from what's called the red jungle fowl. They were originally domesticated for cockfighting, not for food or eggs, so for human interest. The earliest fossilized bones of chickens are from China, and they actually date to 5,400 BC. So these guys have been around in human populations for a very long time. There's over 500 breeds of chickens, which is about 350 different combinations of various physical features, whether that's their feet, their colors, their sizes, and more, things like that. So they are quite a diverse group of animals. Now, they are omnivores. They do eat, mostly fruits and seeds and plants. However, they eat tons of insects, and given the occasion, these little dinosaurs will also eat things like mice and other animals. So they are kind of a multi-purpose animal there. They are smarter than people think. Miss Emily here has some really cool footage of them working with some enrichment that you'll be able to see here in a few weeks. And they are not, while they're not capable of long distance flight, they actually can fly short distances. So here in our enclosure, we just have to make sure that they don't fly out on occasion, which they have so much food and entertainment that they're not usually inclined to do so. They typically live 5 to 10 years, depending on the breed. These birds don't live as long. Females can often lay up to 12 eggs in a clutch and have been domesticated to actually be able to breed year-round or to lay eggs year-round. The chicks usually hatch after 21 days, but for that to happen, obviously you need a male rooster. We don't have a rooster, so all of our eggs are infertile, just like the eggs you get at the grocery store. So our eggs will sometimes be hard-boiled to be given as enrichment to other animals, or they go home with some of the staff members. So we do feed our animals a lot and make sure that they get plenty of enrichment and care. And we just love our animals here at the zoo. So, are there any other questions?
I do not see any, no.
All right, how long have we been going?
I also. Oh wait, nope. Just kidding. I can't technology. It does not say.
Oh, cool. About 20 minutes. So this is a pretty short one, partly because it's a little chilly out, because it's about to rain on us, and also because this is a cool topic. We hope you guys enjoyed it. We have our alpacas here. We'll let you kind of watch them frolic for a little bit longer while we wait to see if there's any more questions from the lag. But I will see if I can get them to be pretty close to the camera and just enjoy. And we hope to see you next time. Don't forget, we do have our Skype in the Classroom live next Wednesday, the 27th. Super exciting. You can log in as early as 10:30, and then we start at 11 and we'll go till about noon. We have super cool animals we've chosen to talk about adaptations. There'll be people there from all over the world. So tune into that. There'll be more information on our Facebook page. We hope you've been enjoying our Facebook stuff, by the way. If you're on Instagram or Twitter or in Facebook or all of the above, we hope you've been enjoying all of our posting. We've been having a lot of fun with it. Also, if you're a YouTube person, check out our YouTube channel. We have actually, I think now over 20 to 30 different videos, because Miss Emily has been working on some really cool lesson modules about all sorts of different stuff, from what's that called?
Phylogeny.
Phylogeny to animal senses and everywhere in between. I've been doing some shorter videos about different animal adaptations, and we also have all of our Facebook Live things on YouTube if you miss us and want to watch those at any time. So check those out and appreciate our time in the goat yard. I'm going to go see if anyone will eat some food. Hi, buddy. There you go. Also, fun fact, alpacas have, much like camels, have a split in their upper lip, and it helps them to manipulate, kind of like fingers do. It allows them to manipulate their food and strip leaves off of branches. Hi, you want this? Nope. You want this? You want this? Oh, everybody's interested. So if you can't tell, we've got some shyer animals and we've got some more dominant animals. Kramer and Victor here are definitely the more food motivated and also the more dominant animals. Percy and Trotter over there are the more shy from people as well as less dominant, so usually they might get pushed aside for food, which is one thing that we have to be careful with when we're working in a barn setting. We have to make sure that everyone is getting the food that they're supposed to get, as well as not being pushed around over much, right? This is part of their herd dynamics, but also we want to make sure that everybody stays safe. Like that? There you go. All right, now they're not going to believe me, but that is the last treat I have in my pocket. So if we don't have any more questions, I think that we can say goodbye for now. Check us out next week, because we are talking about otters. It's going to be super fun.
Woo!
Because next week is World Otter Day, and we're trying to get into like a whole 5 days of fun things. So check out our Facebook, check out our fun times. We hope to see you for Skype in the Classroom live on Wednesday, and we'll see you next time. Bye, everyone.